Man, it's that old thing, perseverance, consistency, hard work. My goal is to put the same work into, my businesses, my family that I put into football, and I've been running with that mantra since I got married back in '97, that if I'm going to have a successful marriage, I got to, the same hard work and same consistency and discipline I had on the football field, I got to put in my marriage and with my kids and with my businesses and all that. So it teaches you a lot, man. How to deal with your fellow man and not look at his color, but look at what he can do for the overall good of what you're trying to accomplish. So sports to me in general is just an incredible deal. When you talk about football specifically, because of the closeness of guys, I just believe it's an amazing sport.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Ball with the Czar. I'm Emory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, here on the campus of Louisiana State University, LSU, with Brenton Sumler, who is the manager of the Shaquille O'Neal Life Skills Program. Brenton, appreciate you taking time, man.
I appreciate you.
I always wanted to ask, man, and these type of programs are unique to college football because there's so much that goes around what you guys got going on here at a major university. So just for the folks out there that may not understand, what is your job duties here at LSU?
So my sole responsibility is to prepare every single student athlete that represents LSU as a varsity athlete for life after their sports. Because we know retirement is batting 1,000, and so at some point they have to be able to find out whom they are and what they want to be once they finish their sport. And it could end tomorrow, or it can end from a 20-year career in the NFL.
When you get guys that come in usually as freshmen, where are they in that process? Do they have a roadmap or a plan, or are they still just trying to figure it out and you really don't get them until their junior, senior year?
Well, some guys are special. Some guys come in knowing the fact that I'm going to be 3 years and this is a process that I need to do because they've been well coached from the time that they picked up the ball. The majority of the athletes that we do get have the thing of wanting to get into the NFL but don't know the actual steps. And so I kind of fill in the gap in that role and help them understand if that's something that you want to do, here are the things that you need to do to get yourself prepared to be in a position to be successful there.
The term life skills can go in a wide array of directions. When you're talking about life skills here as it pertains to the student athlete, what are you trying to really drive home? What point are you really trying to drive home?
So life skills, we try to get them to be great, successful people once they leave here. So that means getting to know themselves personally, what their moral compass is, what things that they believe and want to do once they leave here. Also, their career-wise, what is it exactly that they want to do? And then have them prepared to carry those things out, whether it's being a professional athlete. Because regardless of what genre, what industry that they go in, these same skills that are events or programming that we offer them can be transferable in any spectrum that they go into.
Now, this is an invaluable resource, and I think a lot of student athletes need to take advantage of opportunities like this at their own universities. Where do you see the shortfall that where you could bridge the gap from, let's say, the playing field to what they have to do here from a life skills perspective?
So a lot of things that we do, we try to get them to, in so many words, leverage their celebrity for their future. And so what we mean by that is the opportunity that's provided you as being a student athlete here. Let's maximize those opportunities, whether it's connecting with people in an industry that you want to be in after your career is over, or getting the type of opportunities to impact the community in which you serve. Because if you can do those two things while you're here, that carries a long way. And the shortfall of it is making sure that the student understand the impact of it down the road. Because based off kids that came in over the years, this generation is about right now, and trying to convince them that you need to have these skills later on. And you'd rather have the tools to prepare yourself for the unknown rather than wait and don't have the tools for the unknown.
And it was interesting because we were both student athletes at the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask you were at Arkansas Pine Bluff, and you're a tremendous player. At what point did you realize that, hey, I need to start prepping for this? Was this something that you started to see as you were going through school, or did it something that you really had to get up to speed with once you graduated?
Well, for me, football was not the end goal in regards to being a professional, but I did have the opportunity to play with some individuals that went to the NFL prior to my eligibility expiring. And so with that, I saw some of the issues that they had, becoming property of the organization or entity of the organization, and not understanding how to navigate all of that. So I took it upon myself to educate myself in that world just in case that opportunity presented itself. And when it didn't, it wasn't a hard transition for me. But it kicked in, I would say, probably about my end of my sophomore, beginning of my junior year, because I had a few teammates that actually were playing in the NFL at that time. And they would come back and share their stories, and I knew I didn't want that to happen to me.
And do you now see guys come back and talk to you and it's like, hey man, what you were trying to tell me earlier, I now see it and I appreciate you doing that? Or do you still see guys that leave here that may or may not get it still?
Well, most of the time you get two. I mean, the guys that take advantage of the opportunities that we have, they'll go to the NFL Rookie Symposium and they'll say, hey, this is the same stuff that we were doing here. So I felt familiar with it, I felt comfortable. And then you have those that didn't pay attention, didn't take advantage of the opportunities, and now they're struggling to make sure that they're doing it at the maximum level, because in the NFL, it's pretty much required that you do those things and making that transition. So you get a little bit of both, but they come back and share their story and realize that in hindsight, they overall should have participated in the things.
So when you talk about some of those things that they can take advantage of here, what are some of the opportunities that they can come in and be like, hey, okay, I'm ready to take part in this program. What are my steps and what can I expect?
So one of the things that we talk about is communication is a big deal. This generation has the ability to communicate via technology, via social media, but that impersonal connection is something that they lack in a lot of times. And so we try to give them an opportunity to do things in workshops that help them communicate with each other and communicate with others, especially in a situation where they want employment or they want to build a relationship. So one of the things that we practice with our athletes is mock interviews. That's something that could transition over to being a professional athlete or going out and having an interview with a company. Teaching those same skills of looking at an individual, shaking hands, talking about yourself, 30-second elevator pitch, how to take that information and be able to respond in a way that you can get the answer that you want or be concise enough to give the answer that the person wants. That is one of the ways, especially for our athletes, to get them to understand communication is key, due to the fact that a lot of times as an athlete, you get a lot of information in, but you're not able to get a lot of information out because you're doing what it's asking you.
Now that's true, because you may get the playbook, you may get a lot of direction from your coaches, you may get coaching from other people, other players, but you don't get the chance to respond, and it's almost like, yeah, here, take this, do this. Do you find that guys are a little bit more, I don't want to say sheltered, but are in a shell when it's in terms of communication is concerned? And you have to break that shell to really feel comfortable to communicate with others?
It's kind of a balancing act with them, because a lot of athletes have the ability to communicate, but only specific to their sport. So they can sit down and talk about football, basketball all day with another person. But when you ask them to speak about something outside of that, that's where the complication comes in at. Even if they're just talking about themselves. Some will answer that, just Google me, which is kind of funny. It's like, why would I Google you? But when you're at this level, you have 4 or 5-star athletes that there's a lot of information out there for them. But to get them to understand that and be able to share that, whom they are, what they want, and how to answer, is something that we push them to do. And many times, eventually they do, but coming in as a freshman or transfer sophomore is difficult because, for one, this is a new environment for them. And then for 2, they have to be able to trust those around them to be able to be vulnerable enough to know whom they are to be able to express themselves.
Now, when you talk about communication, there's the football side of it, which is, okay, I trust you're out here. Now, on the other side of it, do you find that it comes with confidence? You know, a lot of guys, like you said, have the ability to communicate, but may not be as confident as talking, let's say, in front of a large group or about a topic that they are not as familiar with.
The thing about it is, most of those individuals in their respective sports feel comfortable. Their sanctuary is their field. And so it doesn't matter what action that they do, they have the ability to make up for it. But when they're speaking to an individual that has nothing to do with their sport, or just being in an environment that's not of their sport, it's difficult for them to really put themselves out there because they're not comfortable in the environment. And the confidence part will come when you put them in the situation to do so. But the lack of it, I wouldn't say on the athletic side is there. It's just more so being in an unfamiliar environment.
The high school student athlete that is looking to play college football, what piece of advice would you give them to help get them ahead of the curve before they come in?
Well, they got to get in the habit of understanding, of advocating for themselves. So what I mean by that is there are some requirements from the NCAA that you have to take a certain amount of courses during a certain amount of time prior to your time arriving on campus. So getting to understand those standards helps a long way, because when you come to college, you have to start advocating for yourself in regards to professors, in regards to deans of students, student advocacy and accountability of any academic or social issues that you have. So get in the practice of advocating for yourself and knowing the information that's provided for you to get there. I mean, you learn the playbook, you study the issues and the tendencies of another team. It is no different. Just in this instance, the opponent is your life, and it's you to prepare for it. And so be able to learn those things prior to, and also get you a good crowd of people that can help you with that as well. A lot of times people think that they know, but you need to do your research in those that you have in your circle. Because once you get to this level, the circle becomes very diluted. You never know who wants something or who's looking for something down the road. For finding a good location, a good center of people that can help you is another thing I would tell a high school kid.
Man, it's been great to sit here and talk about this program. I've been interested in how you guys are bridging the gap from the student athlete to help prepare them for that 4 for 40 type mentality. And Brenton, I definitely wish you the best luck and appreciate you taking time.
I appreciate you, man.